So I received a comment on the Kyle Slickman video from Frankly Ended saying that I was doing well on these hard challenges. Well, frankly, I can't help but feel that you're not actually happy for me, frankly. Either way, in that comment was a suggestion for a challenge that I can only imagine is deemed hard enough for the commenter: to use Legends only in a MyGM save. This is hard for two reasons. The first reason is that they can only be booked for a maximum of 10 weeks at a time, meaning that there's going to be a ton of contract negotiations come week 10, and I doubt by then my bank balance will be able to cope. Reason 2 is that I won't be able to put on title matches, or at least it's unlikely I will be. Seeing as you have to assign the title to a drafted superstar at the start of the run, the only way I can get the title onto a legend is if I trigger the current champion enough by not booking them into matches that they'll simply just leave the company. But even then, it's more likely that they give the belt to a different superstar. There are some other challenges that I'm sure I'll face, but for now, let's get into the video and see if Frankly has ended me. So it is time, let's start a new MyGM and see how this goes. Now I wonder which GM I'm gonna choose. Will it be Sonya with her Superstar GM power card? Maybe Shane with his coaster Nah, I'm kidding, it's obviously Regal. This choice is a little bit more up in the air though. So either I have +6 popularity on 6 random superstars, or I go with the fighting champion and hopefully it comes in clutch. I'm thinking even though it's quite risky, I'm probably gonna go with SmackDown. However, I am a little bit worried that the 6 superstars will just be the ones that I actually drafted. But let's just hope that they are legends. The session settings are going to be GM opponent Adam Pearce, opposing brand Raw, AI difficulty hard, and duration 15 weeks. Now I'll leave the draft in for this one, but again this is not really going to matter at all because none of these superstars will feature. But I'm simply going to hit Y and go from the cheapest to the most expensive, and then just sign all the cheapest ones so I have more money to sign legends afterwards. So the first pick's going to be Tyler Bate. Ane, Lorcan, Trent, Seven, Kalisto, Shotzi, Slapjack, Raquel Gonzalez, Natalia. Okay, if you all clicked off the video because of that, I'm really sorry and I totally understand. So that's how we're going to end the draft with 5 male superstars and 3 female superstars. Again, this choice is really irrelevant, but I'm going to give the male one to Slapjack and the female one to Natalia. Right, so first off, we're going to go and check which legends we can actually sign. Actually, first, obviously, we need to use our power card, the Legend Whisperer. So now we can actually go and check the legends and sign one of these guys for free. Now immediately, obviously, The Rock looks like a great acquisition, but he's only 5 weeks, and it's going to cost a ton to keep him on after those 5 weeks. So I don't know if it's actually worth getting him in. Stone Cold's stamina is really low, but obviously his popularity is great. I think Kevin Nash honestly looks like probably the best shout. 88 stamina, mid-60s popularity, and he's a 10 weaker. So we're going to go ahead and make Kevin Nash our first signing. Now the only issue with that is that he's a heel giant and we don't have any face cruisers. But what we do have is Trish Stratus and Chyna, who both complement each other. Trish is only 5 weeks though, so that's going to come back to bite us. Or I could go with Mickie James, who's a specialist and 30k cheaper. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to sign Chyna and then I'm going to role change her so that I don't waste one of the weeks that the other people have. That way, as soon as I sign Mickie or Trish, they can go straight into a rivalry with Chyna. So the second signing is Chyna. And immediately I'm going to go and put her in a promo that's going to change her role to be a heel. Okay, now we've got that out of the way, those two are going to sit there for another week just so we don't waste one of the 5 weeks, and we're going to look for someone to fight Kevin Nash. Jim the Anvil Neidhart's probably going to be the guy. Or I could go with Bret, who actually looks probably like the better option. Right, we're going to go for Bret. The next two I'm thinking are JBL and Stone Cold. Obviously for the fighter-bruiser dynamic, and also because I want to see JBL get beaten up. Just to quickly interrupt, we have a second channel that does gaming reviews and we're looking to hit 1,000 subscribers. It would be a massive help to us if you could subscribe to DiamondLobby Reviews. I've left the link to the channel in the description below, so thank you in advance and let's get back to the video. So yeah, we're going to sign Stone Cold and then we're going to go down and sign JBL as well. So we've still got 1.25 million to play with and a few more wrestlers we need to buy. So I'm thinking maybe The Rock and Razor Ramon, seeing as Razor's stamina is really good and so's The Rock's. Yeah, I think, you know what, I'm just going to bite the bullet and pick up The Rock and Razor Ramon. We've still got nearly a million, so we should probably try and sign some other people. Dibiase looks like he could have a pretty good rivalry with Neidhart, so I think I'm going to pick those two up as well. Also, is it just me that thinks that Jim Neidhart looks a lot like Jack Black in this picture? Dude. I'm so sorry. I've also just realised that you can release talent. So in my intro that I've already recorded, I didn't realise that this was a possibility. But now I'm thinking I should spend a little bit of my money getting the belts onto some of the legends. So let's give it a go. I'm really sorry, Slapjack, but you're gone. And of course the belt went on to Tyler Bate. But for now though, let's see if we can book a show. So the opening match, I'm going to stick The Rock in with Ted DiBiase. For the main event, what are we going to go for? I think it's probably got to be Stone Cold versus JBL. So let's put them both in and maybe make it a tables match? JBL's stamina for some reason is really good, which I don't understand to be honest, but Stone Cold's is really poor. However, I think a tables match should be fine because it's only low stamina, so we'll go for it and see if it works out. In the mid-card, we're going to have Bret versus Razor, which hopefully begins a rivalry, and then next week we can put them in some sort of stipulation match for the main event, as both their stamina levels are seriously high. Then for the promo, we're going to have Kevin Nash calling out Jim Neidhart. Of course, we can't change any of the logistics, so we'll just go straight into the show from here. Match number 1, and The Rock picks up the win versus DiBiase. 3 stars is a pretty good start to the show. Chyna's role change went excellent, so now we've got a very good female heel. Onto the mid-card, and Razor picks up the win against Bret Hart. 2.5 star fight, but it's only week 1, that should be fine. Kevin Nash calling out Jim has gone pretty well and started the new rivalry. Now for the big main event, the tables match, Stone Cold versus JBL. And thank God Stone Cold comes out with a win and puts the Cowboy in his place. However, it was only a 2.5 star match, so that is not ideal. So from the first summary sheet, you can see that we're already ranking second. Not ideal, but it's only by 4,000. Okay, so week 2, we're going to look at the legends and see if any new ones have popped up. Immediately Hulk Hogan's there, which is kind of tempting. But before we do that, we're going to pick up Trish so that she can fight Chyna. Batista's also there, which is very tempting, but so is Goldberg and Eddie Guerrero. I think my first acquisition is going to be Eddie because it's a 10-week contract and he can feud with Kevin Nash. I know I just put Nash in a rivalry with Neidhart, but seriously, Eddie versus Nash will be a great fight. What I'm thinking though is I could get Diesel and fight him against Eddie. Obviously it'd be the exact same thing as fighting Kevin Nash versus him, but it'd mean I'll be able to continue the rivalry with Neidhart. So I'm going to pick up Diesel for 5 weeks. Now let's quickly release Tyler Bate and hope that the title goes to one of the legends. Of course it doesn't, it goes to Onnie Lorcan. So the main event of week 2 is going to be The Rock versus Ted DiBiase as he wants a rematch from last week. The opener is going to be Nash versus Neidhart in a tables match. Then for the first promo, Eddie's going to call out Diesel. And in the mid-card we're going to have Trish versus Chyna. Then as the second promo, Stone Cold is going to call out JBL. So I think that all looks good. Heading into week 2, let's see how it all goes. First match, Nash versus Neidhart, has gone up to a level 2 rivalry, which is great, but it was only a 2.5 star match. Eddie calling out Diesel has gone okay and not created a rivalry, which is pretty frustrating. Trish versus Chyna, I'm hoping this is a good match because these two are going to have to carry my female division. Right, so 2.5 stars, not too bad, and it started a rivalry, which is ideal. This call out is going to start the rivalry as it shows on screen, and of course it's going to go good because it's Stone Cold. Now the big hitting main event, The Rock versus DiBiase. DiBiase doesn't get his revenge and The Rock smashes him in a 3-star fight. Pretty mediocre show, but we're still in early days, so hopefully it'll just get better. We're still ranked number 2, but only by 10,000 fans, so I think we should be able to close that gap fairly soon. Okay, so I've just come into the Legends category, and the Undertaker's popped up with 90 stamina. I've only got 458 to play with, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to pick him up because that's too good to miss out on. I'm thinking I might get the Ultimate Warrior as well and turn him into a heel, just so the Undertaker has someone to fight. The only issue with that is he's $200,000, which is nearly all of the rest of my budget. You know what, I'm just going to risk it and sign Ultimate Warrior. So the first thing we're going to do is change Ultimate Warrior's role to be a heel. Then we're going to have The Rock call out Ted DiBiase in what will undoubtedly be a brilliant promo. For the main event, I'm going to stick Trish versus Chyna in and hope that it gets more than a 3-star. And for the opening fight, we're going to have Eddie versus Diesel in an Extreme Rules match, seeing as they've both got 90 plus stamina. Then for the mid-card, we're going to have Jim Neidhart and Bret Hart versus Razor Ramon and Kevin Nash. Also, I'm going to have to change the opening fight to just be a normal one so I can save some money. But that should be all okay, let's see how it goes. Eddie versus Diesel, opening fight, and I have big hopes for this rivalry, so let's see what happens. Diesel wins and it's a 3-star fight, starting a new rivalry. That is ideal, and hopefully that rating will only go up as the rivalry progresses. Ultimate Warrior is now a heel, that's perfect, and then the big tag team match in the mid-card, who's going to come out on top? It is Razor and Nash. 2.5 star fight, so worse than the opener, which is what they want anyway, so that's fine. The Rock calling out Dibiase is excellent because of course it's excellent, and that rivalry goes up to level 3. So in the main event, Trish beats Chyna and upgrades their rivalry to level 2, but it's only a 2.5 star match again. I think next week I'm going to have a call out because I think Trish is getting low on stamina. Still second in the rankings, and this time we're 20,000 fans behind. It's getting pretty expensive now to release the talent to try and unlock the belts, so I'm probably just going to leave it for a couple of weeks. So week 4's card is Eddie vs Diesel, Nash vs Neidhart, and The Rock vs Dibiase, with a couple of callouts to try and make the rivalries as high a level as possible heading into Backlash. Let's advance and see how this week goes. Opening match, and Eddie beats Diesel in a 3.5 star fight, which is great heading into Backlash. So in the mid card, Nash takes down Neidhart and it's another 3.5 star fight. The shows are really starting to pick up. The big main event, and The Rock comes out the winner in a great fight. But the rivalry doesn't go up to level 4, which is pretty frustrating. Okay, this is one of the things I was worried about. All the 5-week wrestlers we signed are now needing to renegotiate their contract. And as you can see, it's really not that cheap. So unfortunately, Neidhart, I'm going to have to thank you for your work, but I cannot physically afford to renew your contract. And same will go for pretty much all of these superstars. So we've only got 145,000 to book this show, and we've also lost about 6 wrestlers. This needs to be a pretty big show, and seeing as The Rock and Dibiase are both off after this, I'm going to stick them in a Hell in a Cell. The first mid-card fight is going to be the start of the rivalry between The Undertaker and Ultimate Warrior. Seeing as they both have crazy high stamina, I'm going to put them in a tables match. The opening fight is going to be Trish vs Chyna, and that's also going to be a tables match. Then finally Nash vs Neidhart in just a normal match. Okay, that's how it's looking. We're going to have 42,000 afterwards, but hopefully this can bring in some serious cash. First pay-per-view, opening fight, and Trish vs Chyna gets a 4 star. The Undertaker vs Ultimate Warrior, there's no build up to this fight, but obviously it's going to be a great one anyway, so hopefully it's 2.5 star. I was really hoping for 3 star or more, but 2.5 will have to do. And it didn't even start a rivalry, which kinda stings. Nash vs Neidhart puts us back on track though with a 4 star fight, and that is another rivalry complete. For the big main event, we get a 4.5 star classic. The Rock vs Dibiase is complete, and The Rock comes out on top. Not too bad of a show, but will we still be second in the rankings? Yes, we are. It's still by 20,000, so not the biggest gap, but it's still quite frustrating. Heading into week 6, and we had to do a few more contract negotiations, so we lost about half of our revenue. We're going to have to re-sign Bret Hart because we need someone for these next 5 weeks to fight with Kevin Nash. It's quite expensive, but it's cheaper than trying to buy a 10-week wrestler, so we're just going to have to try and make it work. And Nash requested to be in a main event, so he's going to fight Bret straight away. The opener's going to be Eddie vs Diesel again to try and boost that rivalry. And then the first promo is going to be Ultimate Warrior calling out The Undertaker, hopefully initiating the rivalry. So we had to re-sign JBL to give Stone Cold someone to feud with. And as you can see, we're very low on budget now. So let's advance and hope that this all goes well. First fight, Eddie vs Diesel, 4 star match, perfect. Finally, The Undertaker and Ultimate Warrior are feuding, so hopefully that's going to be a big hitting rivalry. JBL gets the win in the mid card, doesn't advance the rivalry, and it's only a 2.5 star match. The main event is also a dud, with Kevin Nash picking up the win over Bret Hart. But seeing as he asked to be in a main event, I thought it was better to raise his morale now than put him into a pay-per-view main event. We're about 22,000 fans behind, and we've picked up a little bit of extra cash to use for this week. Relatively big news, Onnie Lorcan has just quit, which means that I might be able to get the title onto one of the legends. And of course it's gone on to Trent Seven. So I'm actually going to use my Birth of Legends power card to try and increase the ratings for the next few weeks. It's important that I go into Mania above Raw in the rankings, so I'm not relying on that final show to win. So yeah, let's go ahead and use it and see who it boosts. Okay, perfect, so 4 of the 6 are legends, and they're ones that I'm currently using in rivalries. That should help out quite a lot. So that's how the card's looking for week 7, Undertaker vs Ultimate Warrior, Trish vs Chyna, and Eddie vs Diesel. Hopefully we can make a bit of extra money heading into the second pay-per-view. First match, and The Undertaker beats out Ultimate Warrior in a 3-star fight, but it hasn't increased the rivalry at all, which I really don't understand. I might just stick them in a Hell in a Cell match next week and hope that that does the trick. In the mid-card, Trish beats out Chyna in a 3-star match. The main event gets an amazing 4-star rating as Eddie takes out Diesel in a tables match. Just as like a little impromptu tip here, I always get good ratings when I pair cruisers with giants. Obviously it tells you to do that, but that specific matchup always yields decent ratings. So if you're struggling for them, just get a cruiser in and a giant and you should be able to get 5-star matches. We're still behind in the rankings, but we are gaining some ground on them. And we now have a fair amount of money behind us as well. so hopefully next couple of weeks we can overtake. So the card for week 8 looks pretty good. I'm going to try and put the Undertaker and Ultimate Warrior in the opening fight to increase the rivalry. Then the mid card is going to be Nash vs Bret, and the main event is Stone Cold vs JBL in a tables match. Really hoping we can start to close the gap on Raw in terms of fans now. So Undertaker and Ultimate Warrior clearly just don't want to fight each other. Another 2.5 star match, and it's not even increased the rivalry. This is getting pretty frustrating. Kevin vs Bret is great in the mid card, and the rivalry goes up to level 3. The main event though, Stone Cold vs JBL, who's going to come out on top? Stone Cold gets the win, and it's a 3.5 star match. Rivalry up to level 4, so the next pay-per-view should go off. We're still ranked number 2, but only by 9,000 fans now. And that's how it all looks going into week 9. Finally, the rivalry levels up to level 2. I never thought I'd see the day, but there it is, and it looks so beautiful. Anyway, the Ultimate Warrior comes out on top with a 3-star fight. It's still not great, but it's better than the 2.5 star stinkers that they were dropping before. JBL of all people does an excellent charity promo, and we gain 5,000 extra fans. I wasn't sure about this match, but Eddie vs Razor actually produces a 3-star. And the main event, Kevin Nash vs Bret Hart, finishes as a 4-star amazing fight. Unfortunately, the week before the second pay-per-view, we don't get it to a level 4 rivalry though. That show actually put us above Raw, and it's by a fair amount as well. 23,000 fans up, and a lot more cash going into week 10. So that's how I'm going to book TLC. We've got Stone Cold and JBL completing their rivalry, Kevin Nash vs Bret Hart in a tables match, Ultimate Warrior vs The Undertaker in an Extreme Rules fight, and then finally Eddie vs Diesel completing their rivalry in a Hell in a Cell. So let's hope this all goes well and we extend the lead at the top. Rivalry complete, Austin vs JBL, and it's only an amazing fight. Not exactly what we were looking for, but it's still a decent start. Bret beats Nash in a classic 4.5 star fight. Obviously this probably should have been the opener, but of course I thought that JBL and Austin would put on a better fight seeing as they were level 4. Either way, I'm never going to turn down a 4.5 star fight, that's only going to help us. In typical Undertaker and Ultimate Warrior fashion, their rivalry doesn't increase, but it is a 4-star match, so I'll take it. And this is the big one, Eddie vs Diesel, Hell in a Cell. Of course it's a 5-star match. Not a bad pay-per-view, let's advance and see if we're still top. Okay, so we are still top, and by about 70,000 fans now. So let's keep going and really try and increase that gap. What's nice now is that I can sign 5-week legends, and that's the rest of the run. And seeing as most of my wrestlers have now gone because their contracts ran out, I can now pick a whole new pool of wrestlers with my $600,000. So I'm quickly going to go and have a look at my roster and see which ones I need to get in. Okay, so I have The Undertaker and Ultimate Warrior for another 2 weeks, but other than that I really don't have anyone else that I can fight. Eddie's stamina is shockingly low and couldn't fight Diesel anyway as they're on a rivalry cooldown, so I'm going to have to go and make a few signings. First up, I'm going to get Mickie James in and then also sign Chyna back. Seeing as Mickie is a specialist, she should be able to feud with Chyna. Then I'm going to sign Kane and X-Pac to get that Giant vs Cruiser rivalry. And finally, I'm going to get Batista and then put him in a match against Mr. McMahon. So let's stick Undertaker vs Ultimate Warrior in an Extreme Rules match in the main event. Then as the opener, we can have X-Pac vs Kane. Then the mid-card can be Chyna vs Mickie, and the promos can be Vince calling out Batista and Eddie getting us a bit of extra cash. Week 11, let's see how it goes. X-Pac vs Kane, and X-Pac gets the win. It didn't start a rivalry, which is frustrating, but I'm going to force that next week, with the intention of completing it at WrestleMania. As you've seen before, it's pretty much a guaranteed 5-star fight. Mr. McMahon does successfully start a feud with Batista though. Chyna vs Mickie in the mid-card is a mediocre fight and no rivalry was started. Yikes. Eddie brings in $18,000 more though in true Eddie Guerrero fashion. The main event, Ultimate Warrior vs The Undertaker, is now a level 3 rivalry and is a great fight. So not too bad in the end from these two. We're also now really pulling away from Raw, so hopefully that gap is just going to increase and increase before WrestleMania. Without thinking, I've just accidentally signed Bayley for $128,000. Well, that's going to put a dent in Week 12's funds and is less than ideal. May I just say as well that in the original comment that Frankly made, he said that I could use normal superstars in promos, but as you can see I haven't used a single regular superstar, it's been legends the whole way throughout. Anyway, seeing as they're both off at the end of the week, The Undertaker and Ultimate Warrior can have the last dance, in a tables match. I'm also going to sign Farook and the Big Boss Man just to have another rivalry. So Week 12's card is The Undertaker vs Ultimate Warrior, Big Boss Man vs Farook, and then Batista vs Mr. McMahon. and hopefully Mickey and X-Pac do well on their callouts so that those two turn into rivalries. Going into week 12, let's hope for a big show. The Undertaker and Ultimate Warrior, their final week at the company, how's it going to go down? Amazing match, and Undertaker comes out on top. A nice little end to a pathetic rivalry. Mickey does an excellent job of calling out China, and that is now a level 1 rivalry. Big Boss Man vs Farook is kind of just a mid-card rivalry I'm putting in to fill out shows. Mediocre, but hopefully that'll go up to 3.5 star, maybe even 4 for WrestleMania. X-Pac also does a good job of calling out Kane, so that rivalry is off the mark. Vince McMahon somehow beats Batista in the main event, and that rivalry grows as well. After seeing how Vince took a stunner from Austin at WrestleMania, I wonder how he'd take a Batista bomb. Actually, you know what, never mind, I just don't want to see that. We're still a fair amount of fans ahead, but that wasn't our best show, so we've got to pick it up for next week. Week 13, and I've used a free advertising booking card. I also have this To The Moon card, which boosts one of my wrestlers' popularity by 15, but only if they're 60 popularity or below. So I think I'm going to give it to China, so her feud with Mickie James is that much better. So that's how the card looks for week 13. I've got China vs Mickey as the opener, and China's popularity is going to go up. Then Farook vs Big Boss Man to hopefully boost that rivalry to level 2. Then also X-Pac vs Kane in the main event to again try and boost up that rivalry. China vs James grows to level 2, it's only a 2.5 star fight, but that is an improvement on their first bout. And seeing as the rivalry's growing, it should make for a good WrestleMania fight. So not the end of the world. Farook vs Big Boss Man, and again this one isn't that important, but hopefully it can yield some good fights. 3 stars not too bad, and they've also grown their rivalry. Kane vs X-Pac in the main event, and Kane comes out on top with a 3-star fight. We're not putting on the best shows at the minute, but obviously we're building up the rivalries for Mania. So as long as we stay ahead in terms of fans, we should be able to knock it out of the park on the grandest stage of them all. I'm going to release Raquel Gonzalez, and hopefully, yes, Mickie James gets the title. That's perfect, as Mickie James vs China at WrestleMania will now be a title match. I'll probably throw a couple of title matches in before as well, because I haven't actually done any on this run. Also, I'm going to make 2 more signings in Jake the Snake Roberts and Shawn Michaels. Signing these wrestlers for 1 week is pretty cheap, so even if they just do an advertising promo or a charity promo, it's still pretty much worth it. So the opening fight is going to be China vs Mickey for the title. It's a long time coming, but the fans are finally getting to see a title fight. Then the main event can be Batista vs McMahon to hopefully get their rivalry up again. Then the mid-card can be newly acquired Shawn Michaels versus newly acquired Jake Roberts. Then the 2 promos can both be call-outs to try and boost their rivalries. This should be a pretty good show, so let's go into it and hope it puts us in a very strong place heading into WrestleMania. So immediately China wins the title off Mickie James, and it's a 3.5 star fight. That's perfect, as the WrestleMania fight is bound to be a classic. X-Pac's call out on Kane is excellent, so that's now level 3. Shawn Michaels vs Jake Roberts comes out as a 2.5 star, but that does actually start a new rivalry. Farook calling out Big Boss Man grows the rivalry to level 3. Batista hits McMahon with a Batista bomb and wins the main event. 3.5 star match, and that rivalry is at level 4. This is how the rankings look going into WrestleMania, so we've got just over a 70,000 fan lead. Let's hope that WrestleMania goes well and we end up on top. I'm going to release the Red Monsoon, who for some reason was given the title, and really hope that the title goes to one of the legends. So here we go, is it going to go on to a legend? Who has it gone to? It's gone to Tim Burr. If you're wondering why I have a bunch of random jobbers, of course as soon as I loaded into the game I signed all of these guys to hope that Kyle would come up. Kyle sadly did not come up, but I will put in a treat at the end of this video for everyone who was hoping to see him in this run. So keep watching until the end for that. Okay, so there's the card going into WrestleMania. I don't have any other superstars to book promos with, but instead of using regular superstars I'm just going to leave them blank. This could come back to bite me, and I really hope that I don't lose by about 10,000 fans. Otherwise, not booking charity promos will have been the difference maker. Anyway, the opener, we've got Batista vs McMahon completing their rivalry in a TLC, X-Pac vs Kane in Extreme Rules, Farook vs Big Boss Man in a tables match, Jake the Snake Roberts vs Shawn Michaels in a TLC, and then to finish it all off, China vs Mickey in a Hell in a Cell for the title. Let's advance and pray that this is enough. Fight number 1, Batista vs Mr. McMahon. How's it gonna go? Classic match to start off WrestleMania, and that rivalry is complete. A 4-star match for X-Pac vs Kane, so not a bad start for the mid-card. Farook comes out on top against Big Boss Man, and it's a 4-star match. Again, pretty decent so far. Shawn Michaels once again gets bested by Jake the Snake Roberts, and it's a 3.5 star fight. So I'm really hoping the main event title match will end the show with a bang. Chyna's got 86 popularity thanks to that card, so hopefully it's a 5-star match. Of course it is, legendary match, rivalry complete, Chyna retains the title. But is it enough to beat out Raw? Okay, moment of truth, have we come out on top? Yes we have, there it is, rank number 1 for SmackDown. And as you can see there, we ended up winning by around 120,000 fans. So that's it for the run, thank you very much to Frankly Ended for the suggestion, even if you were being a bit sarcastic in your comment. Anyway, I did mention earlier that there was going to be a treat involving Kyle, so roll the clip. And now the moment you've all been waiting for, we're finally going to spectate Kyle Slickman's entrance. Oh, hello. The lights are going. Where is he? Look at... there he is! Oh, look at him go! Kyle with the bell. Is that a Randy Orton type gesture? Oh man, he's even cooler than I thought he was, man. Look at him go. Hasn't got the headset on, but we can move. The glasses are kind of going weird on the sides, but look at him, man. He's strutting his stuff. Keeping the gold chain on it. Yo, he's kind of ripped though, you know. Look, he's kind of got some biceps on him. Oh, jeez. He's just done that to Brock Lesnar. Unbelievable. Here we go. Look at this, man. He's a proper showman. How's this guy start with 22 popularity? Whoa, look at this. Bit of showboating to the fans. Absolutely love to see it. He doesn't want to just beat Brock. He wants to end Brock. This is incredible. Right, so starting off, how's it going to go? Lock it all. We just get shoved straight off. Hello? Oh, Kyle, look at him go. Brock starting with the suplexes already. I hope the fans are all booing here. I hope the fans are all booing. Here we go. Come on, Kyle. You can fight back. He's getting absolutely abused. Oh, Kyle, not like this. Oh, he's hit the reversal. Oh, there it is. Lovely knee to the head. Let's go, Kyle. The fans are loving it. Go on, Kyle. Go on, Kyle. Look at him go. Oh, Brock does come up with a reversal. But, I mean, after that combo, I want to see him in the UFC. And another boring suplex. Kyle did mount some form of comeback, but unfortunately, he's now getting ground and pounded by Brock. Yeah, this is not looking too good. He just keeps picking him up by his head, man, and then just launching him across the ring. Maybe he shouldn't be in the UFC if he's getting armbarred this quick. Oh, he's got out of it. Let's go, Kyle. Oh, gets the kick in. Go on, here comes the strikes again. Love it, Kyle. Brock reverses again, and he's going to hit him with a German. Yep, there it is. Here he goes. Classic Brock. Just hitting Kyle with German after German. Boring. Boring. Not like this. Kyle is actually kind of down, to be fair. Oh, he's actually won with that. Anyway, at least you got to see Kyle enter and see how he was in the ring, and to be honest, I don't think he did that badly. Unfortunately, Brock was always going to be a pretty hard opponent to beat. But yeah, that was Kyle Slickman in the flesh. What a way to end the video. So that wraps up the video. I think I did a pretty good job beating MyGM with only legends. I didn't even use any normal superstars for promos or any other matches. Of course, as always, if you enjoyed this video, please do consider subscribing to the channel, and make sure to stay tuned for more MyGM challenges. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.